if the market goes those 70 ticks, if it goes 70 ticks in our direction, okay, we're going to get it. Now, I don't have to do anything. We're starting the streaming. So we should hit our target. I want to welcome everybody. We're in the NQ Open. And now I don't have to do anything. Okay. I think I could make for a bigger target. I want to trail. I'm trailing my stop now. Okay. I moved my target way up. Why should I only make 100 ticks if the market keeps going? Right? Why don't I trade it? Now I'm not going to trail. I'm going to back off. Do I want to back off? Nope, not yet. I'm looking for that monster runner, right? I could take my target anywhere I want. I can just trail it now. Big signals, okay? Big signals. Monster winner, okay? Would be a beautiful trade this morning. See how patience worked? So I'm ready. Now, pull back a little bit so you could survive maybe. You got a nice profit. You got a nice profit. You're not going to give it all up. If it pulls back now, okay, party's over. Party's over. You know, $75 profit on a micro is fabulous. That's fantastic. Okay. So for people trading micros, that's not bad. Now, I'm done. NQ, finished. Done. Not even going to look at signals. Don't want to be tempted. Done. I only trade the NQ once. Okay. Especially because we have the gold, the CB consumer confidence. Okay, give me a second. So that was, look, we did our little bit of homework, right? The market was bullish. We didn't get sucked into the short, right? We didn't get sucked into the short. You can build your confidence with MNQ so that you could trade, work on your setup. You don't have to go immediately to the full size NQ, right? And I think starting tomorrow, I'll do the rest of the week on MNQ and everybody can do it with me. How about we do that on the NQ Open? And if we screw up, it won't blow out our accounts and we'll learn. There's a lot to learn. Does anybody have any comments? Is this helpful? Is this helpful? Today was great. It was 3 winners in a row. Yesterday, I traded poorly. Okay. Yesterday, I did not trade well. Today, I swore that I wasn't going to look foolish in the room and I was going to be patient and try to be unemotional and, do the things that I preach. Okay. I wanted to do the things that I preach. And it was a very good day. The market cooperated also. Let's be honest. The market cooperated. Okay. Some of the best days to trade, even though we said there's more risk when you have great news, but you get that open if you can be patient for it to finally go in the direction you want it to go. So I hope everybody is getting value out of this. I think it's great. And I want to thank Mark and Chantal for the setup. Their setup. I have a setup, a scalping setup on the NQ that would work fine, but it'll make less money. It'll make less money. And maybe tomorrow I'll set it up on the market we're not trading. I'll set it up on the regular NQ. We'll trade the MNQ. But let me welcome everybody. I want to welcome everybody on YouTube. We are here for CB Consumer Confidence. Now, CB Consumer Confidence, let's look at last month's report. It's trading with JOLTS today. And I'm interested in a trap trade. I've just been finding that the testing on the traps in these markets has been working. Today is a scary day to trade a news trade. It's a little bit of a scary day to trade a news trade because the market's so world news occupied, but that might help with the trap trade. Okay, now February, it just wasn't it was not that much of a move. It was a weird move. Okay, it went up late. I was testing the ES, which didn't work, and but it went up, and our testing was the trap. Looked pretty interesting. Okay, so even though the DMM, I know the DMM says that there have been working breakouts, they've been small profits. In other words, if you look at February, I was live on this report in February with a breakout trade with a bracket of 7, which if I was trading a breakout today, my bracket would be at least 10. But it filled us in February. And then it took like 40 seconds. I was concerned that the trade wasn't going to work because the news was out. It was not a very big offset. So I was shrinking stops and targets. And so it went through my small target. I had shrunk to a small target. You don't know that you can get a burst like that after over almost 45 seconds. It's a little bit strange behavior last month. And then in January, let's see what it did in January. CB Consumer. So in January, the breakout, it fills. And let me see why. I'm trying to think, why did I cancel that? Let's see what happened here. What happened here? 9:59. It fills. Let me I'm putting the audio on because I don't remember why I canceled that trade. I want to see if I can hear it. I'm going to look real quick at the journal. So that was January 25th. On CB Consumer. Oh, it filled early. It filled early. Okay. Before, but it filled early. Okay. So I jumped out of the trade because it filled before the news. That's what happened. Yeah, I was filled. So I jumped out and it would have been, it did go the opposite way too. So it turned out that that was a good move. That was a good move. This trade, I got to be truthful, it worries me. But the markets have been, but it's also with JOLTS, and the traps have been working well on these types of reports. Okay. But there's no question that we have a lot of risk, I think, in this trade today. All right. I think there's quite a bit of risk. Let me set the news up. What I'd love to see is JOLTS one result and CB, like JOLTS positive, CB negative. That's the best thing for a trap trade. We'd love to see that, right? Because the enemy of a trap trade is movement in one direction. So let me just put the news on the screen. That's all I'm doing. I'm just setting up the news. So I'm very sad that one of our favorite reference sites seems to have gone out of business. I'm going to check it in a minute. Try to do one thing at a time. I tend to get all over the place sometimes. Let me set up the trade. So here's my setup. So my tiers are 12 and 20. Okay. Now, if you think it's going to be a really volatile move, you can make the tiers bigger. You could do 12 and 24. The time of the event, the time of the news, the trade time is 10 o'clock. The news time is 10 o'clock. Activation preparation seconds, 5. 5 seconds before 10 o'clock, my orders are going to go on the chart. Okay. My stop is 18. And then everything else is a default. Okay. Price at the time on bracket center, average price bars is a default. Everything's a default. The things you're setting up, tiers, time of event should be 10 o'clock, activation time. Okay. And I'm trading it. Okay. I'll probably take a quick profit if I have the opportunity. All right. The idea behind a trap trade is we're expecting a movement in one direction that changes direction. the tiers are above the current price, we'll sell the market. The tiers below the current price will buy the market. So it's trap trade's a specialized reversal trade. I'm going to set up the breakout trade on MNQ. Sorry, MGC is what I mean. I would use a 10 bracket because of these markets, okay? Maybe it should be bigger, but a 10. And then our DMM is calling for targets of 5 and 10 with a stop of 10, okay? So I would do a target of 5 and 15. I think a stop of 10 is pretty small, but okay. That's what it's calling for right now. I'd probably go with a stop of 15. Targets 5 and 15. Entry time is 9:59. Activation time, entry time 9:59:59 on the breakout trade. I'm going to set the time to 0 just because I want to set my brackets up. You know what I mean? I'm on sim. So I'm testing the bracket trade or the DMM trade. You know, look, it could be a breakout. This report has worked on a breakout. It just hasn't returned much in the way of profits. Okay. Now, if the market doesn't calm down, I might pass on the trade, folks. Okay. I might pass. You don't have to take a trade if the market's not looking safe. Okay. Now, movement is what we want on a trap trade. What I might want to do is make my brackets a little bigger because the market's gold's down $40 today. It's down $40. Today might not be the day to trade this. You don't have to. Who's trading? Anybody trading with me? Anybody doing a breakout? What's everybody doing out there? So I think the market, it's going to move on this news. I think there's two reports. And I think what might be safe today, it doesn't hurt you. It might just mean that our second tier won't get filled. But because gold is so volatile today, what might make a little sense is bring the bracket size up to 15 and 24. So if there's a big move in one direction, you might survive it and then be able to take part in the reverse. It might, the enemy of the trade is it'll just burst in one direction and stop you out. But there's two reports, so it's possible the reports won't agree and we could get a move up and down. But I'm making my tiers a little bigger because of volatility in the market. And if the market is super, super, super volatile, then you can just watch the trade. There's no law that says you have to put your money at risk if you don't feel it's the right situation. Okay? Don't ever forget that. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to not take a trade. So I'm using bigger tiers because gold's so volatile or has had such big moves today. Okay. So we're testing the breakout, the breakout bracket of 10. That's even though 10's a big bracket for smaller reports like these, you know, it's not, nobody would call you a crazy if you used a 15 or 12 or a 14 bracket, even though that's bigger than what we used on the jobs report, you know? Excuse me. It's just the market is very, it's volatile. So we shall see. Like I said, I'll probably, if I get the opportunity, take a big profit. Take a big profit. I'd love to take a big profit. If I have the opportunity, I'll take a quick profit. I'm going to the website time.is to check my time sync. We will be back. I want to thank everybody on YouTube for watching. Give us a couple. Good, we got one like anyway. Give us a couple of likes. Sign up for the channel. Our computer's in sync. Now, don't forget when you cancel a trap trade, before you're entered into a trade, if you want to cancel a trap trade, just click the close button. Don't uncheck it because it leaves the stops on. It's something I'm fixing in our new update. So if you cancel a trap trade, cancel by hitting the close button. Remember, you have the cancel button, not to confuse you. If both tiers don't get filled, it'll fill the inner tier first, of course, because that's the tier closest to the current price. And there's a cancel button if after a reasonable period of time it looks like your second order is not going to get filled, cancel it. That's what the cancel button does. Okay. And then, of course, you've got the break even button and the combine button, which combines orders just like in our regular setup. So they're expecting less confidence than last month, but still significantly over 100. I don't think it's going to be that good. I don't think consumers are very confident. I think consumers are worried about everything. That's what I think. I think consumers are worried. Gold's doing a big fat retrace. Just watching. Remember what I said, if you're going to cancel the trap trade, hit the close button before the trade. Before the trade. Now, trading's not macho, right? It's not about, well, I don't want to be scared to trade. This is a move in one direction that makes you think, oh, what if the trade moves in one direction? It'll stop out the trap trade. So it makes you nervous when the market is not consolidating before news, right? I'd much rather see consolidation than strong directional move. My gut feeling is that there's going to be a response to the news. That's what I think. And we've tested the trap and it's been looking good. Doesn't mean it's going to work today. So we've got a couple of minutes and then we will be back. After this, we'll be back for our favorite type of trade this quarter, the 7-year note auction. And we have API today. Wow. It doesn't feel like Tuesday. It does not feel like Tuesday at all. I don't know what it feels like. So, I mean, you could say it's almost like a weird consolidation starting, right? Before the news. We'll see. Maybe I made my tiers too big. Maybe it's not going to move that much for the report. It's an unknown. One minute left. Just waiting now on the news. So, but it has calmed down before the report. So maybe we're looking at JOLTS, the job openings report. I think that'll be positive, and I think consumer confidence is going to be negative. That's just my thinking. Doesn't mean I'm going to trade it based on that. That's just what I think the results are going to be. Okay. Okay, there's my orders. The news is out. No, it's not. The news is now out. It's very close to what they expected. I think, if anything, I probably made my tiers too big. It'll fill the first one. That's my guess. Our first tier, I thought would get filled, and it didn't. It might still. So maybe I was too concerned about. Okay, all right. Let's see what happens. So now my orders, I want to bring them closer. Both reports were positive, very positive. I don't like that. I don't want to be in this trade. Okay. Why don't I want to be in this trade? The news is way too positive. It should push gold down. Okay. It should push gold down. It's not it. Look, I could be wrong. I don't care. I don't care. Even and because we had this giant run up, the possibility of gold pushing down is very strong. I'll take my small profit, which it gave me. My brackets were too darn big. Okay, so I shouldn't have made them that big. That's not stupidity. It was sensible, really. Now, look, it could still keep going up, but this news result, what can I tell you? All right. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? I got to look at the video on the breakout. Got to look at the video on the breakout. At least the trap gave us the opportunity to get out. I mean, we would be in a monster winner if I didn't exit, but I exited for a reasonable reason. Based on markets behaving like they usually behave, maybe we can't do that even slightly anymore. I don't know that we can do that even slightly anymore. If you would have stayed in that trade, it would have been, $200 or $300 winner easily, easily, because it didn't challenge our stop. But just not a normal move. So, I on this one, I took a tiny profit. I said I was going to take a small profit. I was going based on the behavior that could have taken place because the news was positive. Okay. JOLTS was pretty positive. CV wasn't all that positive. So you could probably yell at me for maybe not staying in. But I think it was very challenging. That was not so easy. Let's look at the video. And what got me uncomfortable was JOLTS, was the report. It was positive. And I really felt, because we had this move up, that we were going to get the downward trend to continue. Now, we may get it now, right? You may get it now. But it's tricky because I don't think it's moving on the news. That's the real issue. I don't think it's moving from the news. But let's look at the video anyway. It's a shame. It's a shame. The good thing, the only thing I can say that's really positive is the setup worked. The setup worked. My management wasn't great, okay? And not because I was stupid. Um, Maybe I overthought it. Like Mark says, don't overthink it. Just let the darn trade take the risk. Take the risk. It wasn't going to fill both tiers, so I just didn't want to lose the money. So if you really are honest about it, I let fear ruin that trade. Okay, I let my fear ruin that trade. If we want to be honest, let me show you. I mean, I was using analysis that I don't know that we can use the analysis. I don't know that it works right now. So I was certainly concerned about the big run up, and I wanted to be filled long. I would have rather have been filled long. Let's see, because I would have thought there would be a resumption of the move down. So anyway, look, here's what happened. I increased the bracket size, which maybe that was a mistake because we would have gotten filled earlier. Maybe that would have made me more comfortable because I would have had more profit. We would have been filled here instead of waiting. Okay. Because remember, I made the bracket bigger, we'd be in profit. They're moving troops away from Kiev. I think the markets are going to be monster bullish today, right? Markets are going to be monster bullish. So I was uncomfortable because I thought there would be a continuation to the downside because of the news results. That's why I exited the trade with a small profit. Okay. I mean, I had a reason for doing what I did, not that I'm a baby. And it did start to go down. So it seemed like I made the right decision. And then it went crazy to the other side. No matter what, no matter what, when I agree with Mark, I should have just taken the risk. It was only one contract. The market's trending up, but the gold market's not trending up, Mark. I mean, it was before the trade, but there was just as strong a possibility it could start to trend back down too. It was not so easy, not so easy. But I'm not making excuses. I still think I let my fear rule the trade, but my analysis in normal times might have worked, but we're not in normal times. Okay? It is what it is. It eventually was a monster. So, look, the trap works. So, I think the one lesson that we are getting is oh, let's watch the breakout on the video. One lesson we're getting is that even in the volatile markets on some of these smaller reports, you probably don't even have to increase the brackets. I think we can go, it seems like we can go with our regular testing. It's not making us closer to stop outs. It might give you a better opportunity for profit. So I had a 10 tick bracket on the breakout. I didn't even watch the breakout. Now, micro gold, I don't like, okay? But let's see, did my trade work? So there's the bracket, and it looks like it filled and then went the opposite way. So it looks like it might have been a problem. Remember I said a 12 or a 14 bracket? Might have made more sense today, but I think the breakout, very risky trade today, and that's why I wasn't really that interested in it. So it looks like it would. Did anyone trade anything? Did anybody trade? Did anyone trade anything live? I'm going to look at the NQ for a second. Set my chart to 0. That's all I'm doing. Putting on my NQ open strategy. Loading my template. Not that I'm going to trade now. I'm not. Am I going to go crazy and trade? I don't think so. I'm guessing because of the news, without knowing, the NQ's exploding up. Isn't that funny? I would have thought because of the news I just heard, they're pulling troops back, that the NQ would have been making new high after new high after new high. All right. Any questions? I want to thank everybody on YouTube. I hope you're learning something and enjoying our free streams. You can join our trade room by clicking on this link here, www.jointhetraderoom.com. $97 a month. You can learn about the way we trade. We'd love to have you join the trade room. www.jointhetraderoom.com. Everybody on YouTube, thank you so much for watching and joining with us. And if you give us a like, sign up for the channel, hit the notification bell, you'll know the next time we're streaming, which will be tomorrow, and the next day and the next day. We stream almost every day. But you could not be delayed if you come into the trade room. Okay? So thanks.